Virus hunters studying bats to track down the cause of COVID-19. A team in the Philippines studies disease carried by bats in hopes of preventing future pandemics.
As the COVID-19 pandemic rages on, healthcare workers in Nigeria stress the importance of hand washing as a way to help stop the spread of the virus.
Hello and thanks for tuning into the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Chamberlain Osoa, Channels Television here in Lagos. I'm joined by Vincent McCory from Voice of America in Washington.
Thanks, I'm Vincent McCory at the Voice of America. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Our broadcast still looks a little different because of the global pandemic, but we truly appreciate you staying with us on Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Chamberlain Oso in Lagos brings you that story.
Healthcare workers in Nigeria have been reminded about the importance of hand hygiene at the point of care in breaking the chain of infection of COVID-19 virus. This was done in commemoration of the World Hand Hygiene Day, which is celebrated annually in the month of May.
Seconds save lives. Wash your hands. A slogan that precisely echoes the importance of hand hygiene in the management and control of infectious diseases, as officials of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and the Federal Medical Center, JABI, mark the 2021 World Hand Hygiene Day. Distributing flyers as they march through the streets of the nation's capital, the message on the importance of hand hygiene for the management and control of infectious diseases is spread to both health workers and patients. Launched in 2009 and celebrated annually on the 5th of May, the World Hand Hygiene Day aims to promote the culture of hand washing and reduce the spread of diseases.
If a mother washes her hand before she prepares her child's food, for instance, the chances that that child will have diarrhea is reduced. Even if somebody came to the hospital and health workers are diligent in observing those 5 moments, if the patient himself is diligent in hand washing, if the caregiver is diligent in hand washing, then the chances that that disease will pass from one person to the other will be reduced.
Proper hand hygiene is one of the recommended non-pharmaceutical interventions for the management of COVID-19. At this news conference, healthcare practitioners stress the importance of hand washing in breaking the circle of infections.
As simple as hand washing looks, it actually saves so many lives.
The second, in this case, where you spend washing your hands under a running tap can save your life because you don't know what you've picked up on your hands.
Proper hand washing under running water has been advocated over the years to be the cheapest and safest protection against highly infectious diseases such as Ebola and COVID-19.
Let's get more on this story from a public health consultant at the University College Hospital, Ibadan, Dr. Seun Akinyemi. Well, thank you for joining us on Africa 54. Let's start by asking, what is the significance of marking World Hand Hygiene Day, especially when there's Global Hand Washing Day in October?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. The World Hand Hygiene Day is very, very important. It's also to reinforce the message that clean hands save lives. Although we have Hand Washing Day, I believe that everything is about raising the awareness that hand hygiene is very, very important. You know, many diseases are contacted through the fecal-oral route, meaning that when we soil our hands and we put them into some critical area, whether the mouth or the eyes, we spread so many infections. So it is very, very critical. I'm sure many of the infectious diseases will be controlled if we maintain good hand hygiene, especially the COVID pandemic that the world is going through now. Hand hygiene is very, very critical. It's very, very important. So it's never too much. We can't overemphasize the need for good hand hygiene.
Or speaking about emphasis, people are usually told to wash their hands with soap and running water. Why the emphasis on running water?
Yeah, running water is very, very important because if you wash your hand in a bowl, you may reinfect the hand in the dirty water. But by the time you put your hand under running water, it does not necessarily have to be a tap. You can ask somebody to pour the water on your hand while you wash it. The dirt, the germs flows away. You are not reinfecting your hand with the dirty water. So it's very important to wash under running water for at least 20 seconds to make sure that, and many people don't really know how to wash their hand. We need to ensure we wet the hand first before putting soap, and then we rub the palms together in circular motion. Then we walk the back of the hand in between the fingers, and then the base of the thumbs, and then the wrist, and then we rinse out with water for at least 20 seconds. So under running water is much more hygienic than washing in a bowl so that we don't reinfect the hand.
Well, let me localize this. How would you assess the hygiene habits of Nigerians, especially this COVID-19 pandemic period?
In my assessment, I believe there has been a lot of awareness about hand hygiene during this COVID-19. People now know that touching surfaces is not advisable. When you climb stairs, you don't hold the rail. Before you open the knob of the door, especially in some heavily infected area like the restroom, you need to use maybe an handkerchief or a disposable towel. So I believe the awareness has improved. People now wash their hands more regularly, especially among children. So, but we must not rest on our horse, especially with the news about the third wave of the infection, especially in India and some countries. We need to still keep the awareness up. We should not let down our guard at this time.
Well, ever since the COVID-19 pandemic broke, there's been several conspiracy theories. Some people believe hand sanitizers can also be used to prevent the spread of infection. Is it advisable to substitute soap and water with hand sanitizer?
No, the answer is no. Soap and water should not be substituted for, hand sanitizer should not be substituted for soap and water. Now, soap hand sanitizer is only useful when your hands are not obviously soiled. For example, you have just entered, you have gone out, you have not touched anything obviously that has soiled your hand. You can talk about sanitizer. But in a case where your hands are obviously soiled, you have just returned from the restroom, you have done something, you have put your hand on some rail, it's better to use soap and water. It is when soap and water is not available, for example, when you're on the go, that hand sanitizer is advised. But if you are asked to say which one is better, it's obviously soap and water.
All right, and a public health consultant at the University College Hospital, Ibadan, Dr. Sheun Akinyemi, thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. A survey by the Kenyan Association of Manufacturers shows that women are dominating the East African country's top mechanized jobs, although men still own most businesses and have better paying jobs. Victoria Munga reports from Nairobi on one businesswoman who started her own natural foods packaging company.
This place has a lot of
Esther Kojwang's natural foods packaging farm has grown by leaps and bounds since she started it 5 years ago. She and other women are leaders in Kenyan manufacturing, but Kojwang says it still can be difficult to deal with men in the industry.
Like, for example, you want to supply your honey to a big company. And the procurement manager might be a man who might want more from you than you're willing to give. You just want to do clean business, but once a man is the procurement manager, that proves to be an obstacle because they'll want much more.
Despite Kenyan men having most and better paid manufacturing jobs, Kenyan women are dominating the sector's top careers. A September Kenya's Association of Manufacturers survey says even male owners seem to prefer having women run their factories, with 89% of their senior managers being women.
What this demonstrates is that when you have also boards or leaders who support the growth of women within the manufacturing sector, you tend to see policies put in place that mainstream gender into the boardroom, and what this leads to is that more women are able to rise to top leadership positions.
But women owners like Kojwang are still a minority, with men owning 73% of Kenya's factories. The center that ran the survey says most women factory owners have only appeared in the last decade.
Why they're going into it? Because they're seeing it's a lucrative sector. It's a sector that has opportunities. But we have to understand that even though we're having more women go into manufacturing, right, most of their jobs and most of their businesses are actually informal.
Mugenyi says those companies that do have more women attract and retain talent and are better able to gauge consumer interest and demand. To help level the playing field, Kenyan authorities say they're helping to fund women manufacturers.
We have various programs and projects to support women in manufacturers. First, we have the Women Enterprise Fund, which is available. We are giving loans. We have partnered with our other institutions, for instance, Micro and Small Enterprise Authority. We are giving funds to women.
That gives Kenya's women manufacturing leaders more hope for a just future in the industry. Victoria Amunga for VOA News, Nairobi.
Nigeria's version of jollof rice may have gained global reputation, but there's a lot more to be done if Nigerian cuisine is to attain international appeal. And that's according to international chef of Nigerian origin, Izu Ani, who says he has plans to promote local Nigerian delicacy in the global restaurant industry.
Nigerian-born British chef Izu Ani, who was recently awarded a 10-year golden visa by the Dubai government, has revealed plans to showcase Nigerian food to the world in a bid to put the country in a more positive light.
It's about how you place the culture in people's world, because they will get curious when they taste something delicious. They say, where's this from?
Ani, an avid cyclist, is one of Dubai's most awarded chefs, with several restaurants in his portfolio, including one of the top 50 restaurants in the world, La Petite Maison. He believes a better showcasing of Nigerian cuisine and culture can boost its tourism sector.
I've always wanted to do Nigerian food, but done with the education and understanding and training of where I've been from. Because for me, this is where the value, where I come back to Nigeria, not to take from them, but to come with my mindset.
Born in Asaba, Delta State in 1977, Ani spent his early childhood in Onitsha before relocating to the United Kingdom in 1984, where his mother raised him. Her cooking has influenced his career and approach to food.
I grew up with my mother. She cooked ofe, akbo, gari, everything, all that, and so I grew up with the African food within me, and I love it. Every time I go back to London, I phone her, tell her I'm coming. She goes, what soup do you want me to cook? My favorite, ogushi soup.
Having mastered his culinary skills across Europe, South America, and Asia, Izu moved to Dubai, UAE in 2010, where he's now established his own restaurants and catered to several high-profile clients, including the Crown Prince of Dubai. He is especially proud to have received the Golden Visa, which grants him permanent residency in the UAE for a renewable 10-year stay. From Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, Mayowa Adegoke for Channels Television News.
It's time now for a short break, and as we do, we remind you to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come, Visiting this usual building in South Africa could leave you feeling a bit disoriented. We'll take you on a tour of the Upside Down House.
Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Ongoing research is showing that it is likely the virus which causes COVID-19 may be a zoonotic disease that first appeared in bats. A team in the Philippines studies diseases carried by bats in hopes of preventing future pandemics. VOA's Arash Arabasadi has more.
Nighttime in the Philippines. A team of scientists using nets captures a wild bat which receives an impromptu medical screening. Scientists swab the animal's mouth, take measurements, and inspect the wings.
What we're trying to look into are other strains of coronavirus that have the potential to jump to humans. What are these areas that have the potential to be the ground zero for coronavirus infection?
Bat ecologist Philip Alviola with the University of the Philippines is on the research team studying bats and zoonotic diseases. The very nature of their work puts them at risk of contagion. They use the data collected from health screening bats to create a simulation model.
If we know the virus itself and we know where it came from, we know how to isolate that virus geographically. So we can implement some travel restrictions. We can prevent city-to-city, province-to-province transmission.
The model projects how time, climate, and temperature may affect the transmission of disease from bats to humans. The International Union for Conservation of Nature says there are more than 1,200 species of bats and at least 78 of them live in the Philippines. The World Health Organization and others have been studying whether the coronavirus pandemic started in bats because the virus has a similar makeup to others that the flying mammals are known to carry. Arash Arabasadi, VOA News.
It's time to visit an unusual building in South Africa known as the Upside Down House. Our South Africa Bureau Chief, Betty Dibia, takes us on an unusual journey. Take a look.
No, your eyes are not deceiving you, nor are they seeing something from a Disney World set. Everything inside this house is literally upside down. Let's go. So cool.
Whoa! This is so cool. It's upside down.
Everything inside the house is also upside down. From the bed to kitchen appliances, couches, signage, and even the bathroom.
I feel so dizzy and excited because I am always like tipping over and falling, and I explored this place and it's so good.
Outside, the dog is upside down. So is his kennel. And then there's a man on the other side, a guest, or probably the owner. He is upside down. As amazing as all of this is, the house does tend to leave a certain unusual effect on visitors. I think this sign is meant for people like me. This place is actually messing with my mind. It's hard to deal with.
The house, it's so cool. It's like gravity shifting, tilted. It makes me feel like I'm in full backwards. There's a table and another couch. I don't even know how they're stuck up there.
Your mind's definitely not playing tricks on you. We're at the Upside Down House in Northwest Province of South Africa, built in 9 months by the owner in 2019, and it's one of 26 found around the world. He says that he got the idea from one found in Poland. The Upside Down House in the Northwest Province of South Africa is one among a number seen in different parts of the world, about 26 of them. If flipped right side up, it's very much habitable. And visitors from all walks of life come on a daily basis to experience what it's really like to be in an upside-down house. It plays with your mind.
Actually, my life is ups and down, and inside also everything is ups and down. So it's a good experience for me inside.
Okay, my mind is still quite upside down, but I'm happy I came. From the upside-down house in Northwest Province, South Africa, Betty Dibia, Channels Television News.
One of the biggest challenges in getting past COVID is making sure people get vaccinated. One South African youth choir is trying its own way to convince people to get the shot. Romaine Chanson has this report, narrated by Carol Gunsberg.
With schoolwork done for the day, members of the Ndlovu Youth Choir assemble on a stage in Mutse, a village in South Africa's northernmost province, Limpopo. The pandemic locked down the touring group for much of 2020, but its members have a message to get things moving again, as singer Thuisil Masanabo explains.
As musicians, we could help get the word out, as like to encourage people to take vaccines, because people relate more to music.
Since 2009, the choir has provided music training to disadvantaged youth from ages 14 to 25 as a route to more opportunity. The choir has won international acclaim, in part after it was invited to audition for the America's Got Talent TV show in 2019 and wound up among the finalists. In the fight against COVID-19, the choir delivers public health messages through the song Jabba Jabba. The lyrics also call for people to wash hands and fight false information. Last year, after a show cheered by tennis superstar Roger Federer, the choir was forced by the pandemic to cancel 7 international concerts. Artistic director Ralph Schmidt found refuge in the recording studio.
So we used the time to develop new repertoire, to tighten the show, tighten the choreography, develop new soloists, and also create new materials, which resulted in our album, which we released last year.
Rise, as it's called, was named South Africa's best contemporary album for 2020, and Ndlovu has reinvented itself with online performances, installing a green screen in its theater to visually transport the choir for virtual concerts. But singer Lwandile Felicia Shabalala misses performing in front of a live audience.
The choir is supposed to entertain people, and then when we couldn't do that, it was like kind of sad for us. So that's why it was so tough, and it still is, but it's much better, and we hope that COVID will end soon.
COVID-19 has claimed more than 50,000 lives in South Africa, a higher toll than elsewhere on the continent. Singer Sandile Majola sees a need for the choir's infectiously upbeat songs.
We know the secret, which is music. So that's what we use to heal the world and to heal ourselves.
The Ndlovu Youth Choir is rehearsing more music to lift up audiences. It's traveling within South Africa now and preparing to go abroad once travel restrictions ease. For Romaine Chanson in Mutse, Limpopo Province, South Africa, Carol Gunsberg, VOA.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word from Lagos.
All right, we look forward to bringing you another show next week. Remember, channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Train Balunison. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.